Imagine living with an illness so rare that science doesn't even know how to explain it, let alone cure it. And sometimes suffering in isolation forces you to do risky things just to stay alive. That's the struggle that some people on our list face every single day. Here are 9 people with extremely rare conditions. What's up, Factnatics? This is Discovery Amuse, serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Keep watching till number 1 to learn of the incredible story of the man who literally sees the world upside down.
While there is life, there is hope.
Number 9. Sleeping Beauty. Sharique Tovar from Colombia has been cursed with a disorder that till now you might have only seen in a Disney movie. She was diagnosed with Klein-Levin syndrome, an extremely rare neurological disease that makes her sleep for a really long time, as in up to 2 months long.
Fue un susto tremendo, porque de un día para otro la niña no se me despertaba. Con todo porque yo no sabía qué hacer.
When Sharique was 2 years old, she had sleeping problems, so doctors prescribed her some sedative pills. It worked for some time, but her family's nightmare started when Sharique turned 9 and had her first long sleeping episode, which lasted 17 days.
Cuando estoy dormida, ella me baña, me viste, me cambia los pañales, me da de comer.
According to her mother, her longest slumber so far is a record 70 days straight, and poor Sharique suffers from depression as a result of her rare illness. To this day, there is still no definitive treatment for Klein-Levin syndrome. Watch until the end because his is definitely an inspiring story for the ages. Number 8. Rapid aging. The plot of the 2008 film The Curious Case of Benjamin Button centers around a man with a condition that reverses time for him and makes him grow younger instead of older.
Benjamin, we're meant to lose the people we love. How else would we know how important they are to us?
However, these 2 brothers from India are suffering from a disease quite the opposite of it because their aging process is completely sped up. At 15 and 10 years old, Laxman and Ramesh Jadhav have already lost their teeth, have deformed bones, thin hair, and fragile translucent skin. They also suffer from typical geriatric conditions like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and arthritis.
म्हणजे कशामुळे झाले म्हणलं तर कशामुळे झाले गिरणात झालेत का कशात झालेत.
Their condition was initially suspected to be progeria, which causes premature aging, but after medical examinations, the gene mutation attributed to progeria was not found in either of them.
This is not a Kids Act. It is more on the elderly side.
The basic thing is that there is accelerated aging. So the changes which would happen in a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old person are already happening.
In 2017, their DNA test results were sent to Germany for further analysis. No diagnosis has yet been made. Number 7. Feeling no pain. At 6 months old, Ashlyn Blocker had to undergo a painful eye surgery. But much to her parents and the doctor's surprise, little Ashlyn didn't cry in pain. That's when they realized something must be seriously wrong with the child. She can't feel any pain, and if you think that's a good thing, think again.
It was scary because, there weren't very many good outcomes that were involved with this condition. People passing away from appendicitis because they didn't have the warning signs, and bone infections.
Ashlyn does not feel pain or temperature due to her disorder called congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, or CIPA. As a baby, she chewed off part of her tongue when her teeth grew out but felt nothing, and even once fished out a spoon from boiling water with her bare hands.
Yes, I wasn't even thinking at all. It happened so quickly when I put my hand in there until I brought the utensil out.
There is still no cure for SIPA, but if there's a silver lining in all of this, it's that researchers are studying Ashlyn's condition and her brain's reactions to certain pressures in the hopes of unlocking a possible treatment for those who do suffer from chronic pain.
In the right settings, for example, in emergency rooms or during acute injuries, to avoid the incapacitation that can occur with often severe acute pains.
Number 6. Germany's thirstiest man.
This is a lot of water to many others, but to me it's only the water for 1 month.
If you're wondering why Mark Bubenhorst from Bielefeld, Germany stores this much water in his garage, that's because his body is eternally thirsty. Mark was diagnosed with nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, which he inherited from his mother and caused his kidneys to discharge fluids nearly as fast as he drinks them. In order to avoid dying from dehydration, at times he must drink 20 liters of water per day, 10 times more than what the average person drinks. When sleeping, Mark needs to wake up every 2 hours to rehydrate. Otherwise, he will suffer from extreme dehydration, get a fever, and lose concentration.
I suffer mostly from fever dreams because in the night I have to wake up and I'm so thirsty in the night, and so sometimes I've very, very cruel.
However, drinking large amounts of water can also be life-threatening. Mark is at constant risk of hyponatremia, or water intoxication. When water intake exceeds the kidney's water discharge, sodium levels in the blood may plummet, which could possibly be fatal. Number 5. World's thinnest woman.
So again, at such a young age, I was forced to be in the situation of I could either choose to be happy or I could choose to give up. Luckily, I chose to be happy.
Despite having a diet that's composed of burgers, fries, cake, and all other junk food you can imagine, Lizzie Velasquez is still extremely thin. She consumes 3 times more calories than an average person would per day and has to eat every 20 minutes to sustain her energy. And yet, she's practically skin and bones due to a yet-to-be-determined condition.
Lizzie is one of the very few people that are known to have this condition. They have very little muscle mass. Their limbs look very thin.
When she was born, Lizzie only weighed 2 pounds and could perfectly fit inside a small shoebox. Lizzie also suffers from blindness in her right eye and a left eye with restricted vision. But her rare condition didn't stop this firecracker from spreading inspiration and positivity to her more than 800,000 subs on YouTube.
If you're ever feeling alone and need someone to listen to you, there is help there. There is help out there waiting for you.
Number 4. The Tree Man. Abul Bajindar from Bangladesh made international headlines back in 2016 when he underwent multiple surgeries to take out the tree-like lesions that grew on his hands and feet. He was diagnosed with an extremely rare hereditary skin disorder called epidermodysplasia verruciformis, or the Tree Man syndrome. The series of surgeries successfully allowed Abul to live a relatively normal life in 2017 when he could eat and write with his own hands. But 2 years later, his symptoms returned and worsened, with inch-long warts growing back on his hands and feet and spreading to other parts of his body.
তারপরেও এটা আবার পুনরায় দেখা যাচ্ছে, এতে তো অনেক ভয় লাগতেছে যে আবার এটা বেরোচ্ছে, আবার অপারেশন করা লাগবে। এতে অনেক ভয় লাগতেছে যে আমার এখন তো মনে করেন আমি এতদিন এখানে 2 বছর রয়েছি, 2 বছর চিকিৎসা হয়েছে।
In 2019, Abul returned to the hospital with doctors saying that his relapse would require more treatment. Number 3. The Real Rain Man. In the critically acclaimed 1988 movie Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman plays Raymond Babbitt, a man in the autism spectrum who also has savant syndrome or significant mental abilities.
You memorize the whole book?
No.
You start from the beginning?
Yeah.
How far did you get?
G.
But what you might not know is that Dustin Hoffman's role was inspired by an actual person named Kim Peek, a mega savant who has amazing photographic memory.
Every time he read something and finished, he turns upside down. So all around
edges of the living room would be upside down books, maybe 20 or 30 of them in a day.
Kim was born with an enormous head, which was caused by his macrocephaly. His brain abnormality resulted in developmental disability, but it also gave him an exceptional memory. Since he started reading, he has memorized up to 12,000 books. He absorbs general information like a sponge and can easily do calendar calculations and identify which day of the week a specific date falls, along with any special events celebrated on that day.
Kim, if Winston Churchill was alive today, how old would he be?
130.
And what day of the week would his birthday fall on this year?
It would be on a Tuesday.
Sadly, the real-life Rain Man passed away in 2009 from a heart attack. He was 58. Number 2. Allergic to the sun. French twins Vincent and Thomas Seri normally walk around the streets in these special spacesuits, not because they are cosplayers, but because they need it for survival.
C'est pas vraiment un choix de se protéger, c'est nécessaire.
See, the Seri brothers are both allergic to the sun due to their genetic condition called xeroderma pigmentosum, or XP for short. And getting exposed to sunlight or ultraviolet light, even for just a short while, could cause third-degree burns, which may lead to skin cancer.
On a donc développé des petits cancers. Moi, par exemple, j'en avais eu un ici à la lèvre, et on en a eu d'autres, que ça soit sur les bras ou sur le visage, qu'on a dû enlever.
The suits were manufactured by NASA and were specially developed for the brothers. They also had to make adjustments at home to protect themselves and avoid going out during daytime if they can help it, earning them the nickname Twins of the Night.
Sur toutes les fenêtres de la maison, de l'appartement, on a mis donc ce filtre qu'on a scotché autour de chaque carreau-fenêtre, et comme ça on est protégé.
Before we go to our number 1 pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app settings. Number 1. Man with inverted head. Claudio Vieira de Oliveira from Brazil is a man who sees the world from a different perspective, literally speaking. That's because his head is virtually upside down.
Desde o dia que eu nasci até os tempos de hoje, ninguém sabe informar o motivo da minha deficiência física.
Claudio was born with arthrogryposis, which causes body joints to fuse together. His arms and legs are twisted in awkward positions, and his head is facing the wrong way. And what's worse is that it's upside down. When he was born, doctors were so horrified that they told his mother to starve him to death. Thankfully, she didn't.
E quando eu nasci, foi uma grande surpresa. Surpresa essa de parecer totalmente do corpo diferente, que não daria 24 horas de vida.
But Claudio refused to let his illness define him. He learned how to use his mouth for writing and operating gadgets like phones and a computer mouse. And today, he's become a motivational speaker, touching other people's lives by giving inspirational speeches at various events worldwide. He also published his first book entitled The World is the Wrong Way Around.
Tenho o mundo inteiro para conquistar. Basta que eu tenha consciência do meu potencial e acreditar que nasci ilimitado.
So, which of these incredible individuals inspired you the most? Let us know in the comments section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Want to know more people with bizarre eccentricities? Then don't miss our ranking of the 9 people with the strangest addictions. Till then, take good care of your health, Bachnatics, and see you in the next video.